Good morning, welcome to Chess League. Did you hear that? Round number 4 is already knocking onto my door. Let's see what's gonna happen if I don't open this door. Wow, that was quick. I'm a bit behind. Round number 4 is already here and I still haven't reviewed your games from round number 2. Let's get started. For round number 2, I have selected 2 games for review. At first sight, these games are very different and have absolutely nothing in common. However, in reality, if we take a closer look at both of these games, we will see that White demonstrated a very dynamic style of play. But what does it mean to be a dynamic chess player? Dynamic chess players are usually well-rounded but lean more towards aggressive or tactical side of chess. They also have very strong calculation power, which was developed by hours of solving chess puzzles at home during training sessions. Now let's see how dynamic players manage to beat their opponents. Okay, let's have a look at the first game, Alex versus Benjamin. White played d4, Black responded with e6, White played c4, Black played queen h4. Now that's the first mistake made by Black. Instead of playing something like knight f6 or bishop b4 check, developing the pieces, Black preferred to play queen h4. White responded with knight to f3, very strong and natural move, developing the knight onto f3 and attacking the queen on h4. Black played queen f6, White played knight c3, developing another knight. Black played knight c6, White played bishop g5, again developing a bishop and attacking the queen on f6. Black need to move the queen again now. Queen g6. White played e3 with the idea to play bishop d3, attacking the queen on g6. Black played bishop b4. White played bishop d3, attacking the queen on g6. f5. White castled. Now please have a look at this position. All white pieces are now nicely developed. Please have a look at black's pieces. They are almost all undeveloped. Knight on g8, rook on h8, bishop on c8, rook on a8, king on e8. Nothing is developed here. Instead of developing all these pieces, black were just moving their queen. Alright, bishop takes c3, b takes c3, h6. Attacking the bishop on g5. White played bishop h4. Now in this position probably bishop to f4 would have been a stronger move, because it would have attacked the pawn on c7 and it's kind of very hard to defend this pawn for black. Bishop h4 was played by white. Queen to f7. e4. Very nice move. Again, now you gotta remember, if you have advantage in development, it's in your best interest to open up the center of the board and to give freedom to your pieces. F takes e4, bishop takes e4. Now please have a look at this bishop, very strong piece now. Knight to f6. White played bishop takes c6. So the idea of this move is to play the knight to e5, improving the position of the knight. Because at the moment the e5 square is attacked by the knight on c6. So white simply played bishop c6, d takes c6, and then knight to e5, a very strong square for the white's knight. Here black would have played queen to h5, or queen to e7, or queen to f8, or queen to g8. Instead, they played queen g6, which is a blunder. Now white simply took knight takes g6. But in this position, even if black plays something like queen to h5, white still have a much better position. The reason for that is that white managed to develop their pieces far quicker than black, and they also managed to open up the center of the game. So queen g6, knight takes g6, obviously white are winning now. Rook g8, rook e1, again developing the pieces into nice squares. a6, bishop takes f6, g takes f6, queen to h5, developing the queen and putting the queen into attack. Now it's a very strong piece, attacking black's king. e5, knight takes e5, check, king d8, knight f7, king d7. Now white played queen h3, obviously white are winning here anyway, but in this position queen to f5 was a checkmate in one. Knight h3, f5, that was the only move for black, and queen takes f5, checkmate. Well done, Alex! Let's now have a look at the second game, Eamon versus Oliver. White played e4, black responded with e6, French defense. White played d4, black played d5. Now here white have a couple of options which are very popular. e5 or knight c3 or knight to d2. Instead white decided to play e takes d5. That's considered like a drawish line in the French defense. The game, however, was very far from drawish. White managed to actively develop their pieces and outplay black. c4, d takes c4, bishop takes c4, knight to c6, developing the knight onto c6. Here white played d5. Now that's a bit too early for attack. Instead white should have played knight to f3, developing the knight. d5, black played knight b4. That's the first mistake made by black. Black should have played knight to e5, because you need to remember that knights need to be placed at the center of the board. If they are on the edge of the board, they are usually weak and they usually can be attacked quite easily. Knight to b4, bishop d2, knight went back to a6, knight c3, developing the knight. Now you see how white started developing the pieces. h6, that's another waste of time. Instead of h6, black should have played knight to f6, developing their pieces. h6, knight to f3, knight to f6, h3, and again instead of h3 white should have castled. h3, bishop to f5, now white castled. Please again have a look at this position. White's pieces are all developed and white are ready to start attack right now. Bishop to b4. Now that's the blunder, and white could have taken the opportunity straight away here by playing bishop to h6, b take a6, and then queen to a4 with check and attacking the bishop on b4, winning the bishop. Instead white played rook to e1, check, black responded with bishop to e7, white played knight to d4, again very strong position for white's, very strong square for white's knight, center of the board, attacking the bishop on f5, maybe playing knight to b5 later on. Just have a look at this knight, it's a very strong knight on d4. Black played bishop to g6, and here again there was a second opportunity for white where white could have won straight away by playing bishop takes a6, b takes a6, and then knight to c6, attacking the knight on attacking the queen on d8 and the bishop on e7 with the knight on c6 and the rook on e1. The game would have been finished straight away here. Eamon, I think you have a good understanding of where your pieces should be. If you manage to develop better calculation ability, you'll become a much stronger chess player. Instead, white played knight to b5, black responded with castle, queen to f3, developing the queen, bishop to h5, attacking the queen on f3, queen to g3. Now there's a threat now from white, bishop takes to h6, because the pawn on g7 cannot take the bishop due to the king being pinned. Bishop d6, responded black. Knight takes d6, c takes d6,
and then bishop takes h6. With the idea queen g7 checkmate. Here black played bishop g4, blocking the queen, h takes g4, g takes h6, and please have a look at this position. From this position, game only lasted 6 moves. Please pay attention how white managed to develop the checkmating attack. g5 is the first move, very logical move, opening up the queen on g3 and the king on g8. H takes g5, queen takes g5, check, king to h7. Now again, very logical move, bishop d3 check, activating the bishop, king to h8, very common pattern here, rook to e3, lifting the rook with the idea rook h3, and that's just checkmating attack. Rook to e8, rook h3 check. Let's now have a look. Rook on h3, queen on g5, and bishop on d3. All these pieces are attacking black's king, which has no defense whatsoever. Knight to h7, and finally rook takes h7, checkmate.
Good job, Ayman! Okay, these were really interesting games and I did enjoy them a lot. I will see you next time. Goodbye.